What made you vanish, even when you were right there? Why did you watch the people you loved, like a stranger behind glass? You weren't cruel, you weren't heartless, but you were gone. You smiled when you had to, nodded when it was expected, but inside, there was a silence, not peace, just emptiness. And no one noticed, because emotional absence doesn't scream. It whispers, it withdraws, and it builds a world so quiet. Even you stopped hearing your own voice. This is not about blame. This is about the cold room inside you, and how it got that way. You didn't mean to become distant, you didn't plan to shut yourself off, it just happened. One day, something inside you folded in on itself, and you told no one. Maybe you were young. Maybe someone let you down. Maybe someone was supposed to hold you and they didn't. Or maybe they did, but it didn't feel like it. You learned early that emotions made things worse. Crying got punished, talking got ignored, asking for comfort made you feel ashamed. So you stopped. You pulled away slowly. At first you just paused before opening up. Then you stopped opening up altogether. It wasn't safe. It wasn't worth it. And the silence became familiar, predictable, less painful than disappointment. Now, years later, you're still living like that. You don't explode. You implode. You show up, but not all of you. You listen, but don't share. You love from a distance. They call it emotional unavailability. They say you're cold, detached, avoidant. But no one asks why. No one looks behind the behavior. Because it's easier to point fingers than to ask real questions. So you become a ghost in your own life. Not because you don't feel, but because you feel too much and you don't know where to put it anymore. You think you're broken, but you're not. You're protected. And that armor came at a cost. The cost was you. You were emotionally absent. Because it was the only way to survive. This isn't about weakness. It's about what you had to do to keep functioning. Emotional absence doesn't come from nowhere. It's a learned response to pain. A defense mechanism. A survival instinct. Maybe. You grew up in a house that looked fine from the outside, but was emotionally starved on the inside. Where feelings were dismissed. Where vulnerability was mocked. Where emotional needs weren't met. Not because people were evil, but because they never learned either. So you built walls. You became self-sufficient. You told yourself, I don't need anyone. But that's not strength, that's survival. And survival isn't living. It's hiding with your eyes open. Now that emotional distance follows you. Into friendships. Into love. Into your relationship with yourself. You struggle to connect. You avoid hard conversations. You retreat when things get real. Not because you don't care, but because you care too deeply and no one ever taught you how to handle that weight. You weren't born this way. You became this way. And until you understand that, you'll keep thinking your emptiness is your identity. But it's not. It's your wound. And wounds don't make you unlovable. They make you human. There's a moment, maybe you felt it, when someone gets too close and your body tenses before your mind even realizes it. They reach out. Emotionally, physically, and something inside you whispers, this is dangerous. Not because they mean harm, but because closeness feels like exposure. And exposure feels like drowning. So you pull away, gently, quietly. Maybe you ghost them. Maybe you make a joke. Maybe you say, I'm just tired. But the truth is, you're scared. Not of them, of what they'll see when they get in. of the parts of you even you can't look at. Because somewhere along the way you decided it was better to feel nothing than to risk feeling everything. You learned to master the art of appearing fine, to mirror emotions without actually feeling them, to say I'm here for you even when you're emotionally 3,000 miles away. And people bought it, because most people don't look deeper. They don't hear the silence in your smile. They don't question the pauses in your sentences. They don't see the flicker in your eyes when someone mentions love, or trust, or childhood. But you see it. You feel it. Every single time. You're not heartless. You're not incapable. You're hurt. And no one saw the wound. So it never healed. You adapted. You became the calm one, the rational one, the independent one. You started building a life around your emotional absence because it made you functional, reliable, less messy. But at night, when it's just you, when there's no one to impress or protect or avoid, you feel it. That hollow ache. Not pain exactly. More like a numbness that hums beneath your skin. Like a room inside you that's never had light. And it hurts most when you realize you want to let people in. You just don't know how. Because vulnerability isn't instinct for you, it's a threat. It's a language you were never taught, and every time you try to speak it, you stutter. You freeze, you vanish. So you stay in your head, where it's safer, where feelings don't scream, where no one can reject you, because no one really knows you. You chase success. You get things done. You become productive, and everyone applauds. But the applause echoes in an empty room, because achievement without connection feels like winning a game you never wanted to play. And deep down, you know this isn't sustainable. You know there's more. You feel the hunger for it. Real love, real presence, real being. But you're tired of pretending, of analyzing every reaction, of not feeling safe in your own skin. So you isolate, not because you hate people, but because being around them makes you feel even more alone. And that's the cruelest part. The more distant you become, the more you're starving for intimacy. But you don't know how to ask. So you wait, quietly, hoping someone will see you before you disappear completely. You've been in rooms full of people and felt like furniture. You've heard, "I love you," and didn't believe a word. You've watched someone cry and felt nothing. You've laughed at jokes just to be polite. You've walked away from people who actually cared, and you hated yourself for it. You thought you were the problem. But the truth is, you were protecting the most tender part of you. The one that still remembers what it was like to be ignored, shamed, dismissed. The one that still flinches when someone says, "Just open up." You didn't fail. You adapted. But adaptation has a price. And now, you're the one who's emotionally absent from your own life. Here's what no one tells you. Emotional absence isn't permanent. You can come back. Not instantly, not easily, but piece by piece. It starts with noticing the tightness in your chest when someone gets close, the way you distract yourself from your own feelings, the fear that rises when someone asks, "How are you really?" You don't need to spill everything. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be honest first with yourself, then slowly, painfully with others. Tell someone, "I struggle to feel connected." Tell someone, "Sometimes I disappear and I don't know why." Tell someone, "It's not you. It's the armor I've worn for too long." And when they look at you with confusion, when the silence between you stretches, stay. Don't run. Don't disappear. Just Stay because healing doesn't come with fireworks, it comes in quiet moments of truth. It comes in letting one person see you, and not crumbling when they do. You weren't born to be distant. You were born to connect, to feel, to live, and somewhere beneath the years of silence, beneath the cold armor and the practiced apathy, your warmth is still there, flickering, waiting, wanting. You just forgot how to come home to it. But you can, and maybe this is where it begins. If this felt like your story, don't scroll past it. Sit with it, rewatch it, share it with someone who sees through your silence, or someone you wish would, and maybe, just maybe, this will be the first time you're fully present with yourself.